Welcome to Forex DayBreak, a daily podcast where we cover 8 Forex pairs and give you our view on the market direction for these pairs. If you are trading Forex market, this is the #1 show to start your trading day. Now, let's begin today's episode.
Good morning everybody and welcome to Forex DayBreak episode 40. In this daily Forex update, I will give you my view on 8 Forex pairs I analyze using Elliott wave principle. My name is Ville Vainio and today is 2nd of October 2015. This podcast is recorded also as video and it is available from the members area at forexdaybreak.com. The analysis is best viewed as video, but you can follow along with the images found on the show notes page at forexdaybreak.com/40. Now let's get started and let's get right onto our first pair, which is Euro USD. Not much progress since yesterday. We got a slight decline yesterday, but then a powerful push upwards later in the day, and this is not looking very powerful. We should be in a third of a third wave and should be the most powerful wave in the sequence. At this point, this is not very evident here. I would like to see a decline below 111 and preferably below the recent minute wave 1 low at 110.865. Also, this whole minute wave 3 decline should be more powerful than the first wave, which I can draw here from the 117.13 all the way down to 110.865. So there's a 600 plus pip move to be expected here. So far we have seen the first wave of minute wave 1. In my wave count at least we can see a 5 wave structure to the downside, then a quite complex looking minute wave 2, and now Euro USD is still struggling to move lower, so perhaps we are still forming the minute wave 2 correction. This is a possibility and we can expect possibly more upside in this pair. When we take a look at the other euro pairs, we can see that there is a slight bullish bias on euro pairs, so perhaps we are getting more upside in Euro USD as well. So let's keep in mind this possible correlation on other euro pairs. Okay, let's move on to dollar yen, which has moved nowhere on a very tight range. Is dollar yen moving right now? 119.95 is the price right now, and like I talked about yesterday, I would like to see a move beyond 121 level and to get a clean break from the triangle to the upside. This is what I'm expecting. This hasn't happened yet. The triangle looks completed, but we are now moving on a very tight sideways range. So let's see how this develops. Nothing has happened since yesterday, and actually past couple of days have been very subdued in dollar yen. We can make out the whole triangle. It is completed in my opinion. So there's a clear three-way structure first, and then the rest of the triangle is slightly more complex looking, but we can make out the whole triangle already here. So next move should be to the upside and past the triangle trend line, which is around 121 at this point. So more upside on the coming days on dollar yen. Okay, let's move on to pound dollar, which has moved lower in a very mild manner, I would say. Since yesterday we have had no progress. 151.43 is the price right now. We are past the previous minute wave 1 low, which is a clear signal of the continuation to the downside. But in my opinion, this third wave, minute wave 3, is not completed yet. And if we would get a corrective move right now, it would overlap with wave 1, and this is not allowed in Elliott wave principle. So we can expect a sideways correction, sideways price action in pound dollar next week, but not much has happened since yesterday. The trend here, the larger trend, is down. We can make out a 5-way structure. Actually, let's draw from the low 151.62. We can make out a very nice 3-wave structure all the way up to 156.58, and after that we can start to make out perhaps the bottom of third wave is the recent low, and now we can maybe expect a sideways correction and then move down on pound dollar. So more downside, eventually possibly a corrective phase is up next in pound dollar. Alright, let's move to euro pound, which has also moved higher, and in my opinion this upwards structure is not completed yet. I'm expecting more upside and move beyond 0.7435. This structure is very overlapping, not a nice 5-way structure at all. The recent high is possibly a wave 3 peak, and this recent decline can be a small degree wave 4. The impulsive structure here is a little bit unclear at this point. There's a lot of overlap, and there's 3-wave structures also seen here, so hard to figure out what is the correct labeling here. The labels I have right now can be incorrect at this point, but once we see further development in this pair, we can start to label this more correctly. But at this point I'm expecting more upside, since there is a 5-way structure seen at from the low at 0.71955. we see a 5-way structure from that high, then a strong push downwards, but there's a 3-wave structure next forming to the upside. So this would signal that we are now on a corrective phase, possibly starting another wave higher, since the recent decline is possibly a 5-wave structure but very overlapping. So this is difficult to say what is the true labeling and true structure here. So I'm expecting more upside and a push beyond 0.7435 level. Next we have euro yen, which also is not giving a clear signal of the direction. In my opinion, we are still on a corrective phase, possibly minute wave 2 correction is still forming. I have labeled minute wave 2 as completed at 135.387. Price now 134.332. There is a 3-wave structure from the low of 133.157. We can draw it here. So this is a 3-wave structure, and this recent move lower is also a 3-wave structure. So we can possibly expect a 5-wave structure now and move beyond 135.387. Since the decline recent decline is in 3 waves and we have now moved higher. There's an overlap and a possible C wave is yet to be formed. So let's keep an eye on this pair as well. Next week can be possibly a positive week for euro. Okay, next is pound yen. No progress here also since yesterday. Sideways price action. From the 188.276 high we can make out a 5-wave structure, so perhaps we are due for a corrective phase here. We can make out the small 3-wave structure. Now downside also forming, so perhaps also here similar situation than in euro yen. We can maybe expect a smaller 5-wave structure as C-wave forms to the upside. But this is just the first 5-wave structure of a much larger wave, since the 188.276 peak in my wave count is intermediate wave degree X wave. So if this labeling is correct, there's a lot more downside to be expected in this pair. Okay, let's move on to Euro Canadian dollar. The strong decline has paused here. Price now 148.25. So the strong decline from the 151.56 level has now stalled, but this is looking like the start of the next impulsive wave down. Although I would like to see a clean break below 147 and eventually 145.95. We can actually draw a trend line here, which is now supporting this market at around 148.2 or 148 flat is more like the support level. Once we stay above this trend line and this 148 level, there is no clear signal of the next impulsive wave down. The decline is looking very powerful, so I am expecting more downside, but hard to say at this point if this is indeed the start of the next impulsive wave down. Okay, finally US dollar Canadian. Also very strong decline. Here corrective wave is forming, minute wave 2 in my wave count. So 134.55 would be the peak of minute wave 1, and now this is forming the correction to the downside. We are already 50% retracement levels. Price now 132.337. So perhaps we get a little more downside on US dollar Canadian, but eventually this is going to reverse, turn to the upside and form the next impulsive wave, which would be minute wave 3. But let's wait patiently when this correction is over, and then we can start to look for more potential trading opportunities to the upside once the larger trend resumes. Okay, that's all for today's episode and concludes the whole week. Visit the show notes at forexdaybreak.com/40 and follow along with the chart images found on that page. Also remember that this podcast is recorded also as video, and it is available from the members area at forexdaybreak.com. Another great feature you find there is my Elliott Wave Ninja trading system, and both of these are included on the monthly subscription, which is only $10. I have a 14-day free trial for you. So take this no-risk opportunity and go to forexdaybreak.com and sign up. Thanks for listening to my show. Now go make some profits, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.
Thanks for your interest in Forex Daybreak Daily Podcast. If you like this show, we hope you'll visit our website, www.forexdaybreak.com, and tell your friends about us. Be sure to check the show notes on our website for this episode. Join us next time for another episode of Forex Daybreak.